What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is your review for Ready to Love Season 5 Reunion Part 1. All I'm going to say is this. Listen, the ladies did not come to play with y'all. That's all I'm going to say. The ladies, they did not come to play. So let me go through my notes, okay? Because I got some things to say. I'm a little disappointed in some people. Some other people, I'm shocked at. Some other people, I'm like, you go, girl. Now, let's get into this. First of all, there is no Tommy. Unfortunately, Tommy tested positive for the Roni Ron, and he was not able to host. So we have a new host who was a DC native. So I was here for that. I ain't write her name down, so sorry. So first of all, we start off with Sean's story. First they start off with the two people that, were like the little twist that came in late. So we start off with Sean because Sean wasn't there that long. So Sean, he talked about his story, and they made a big deal about this whole kids thing with him and Aisha and him and Sabrina. My question is, why didn't they show the fact that he had a good date with Tasia and ask him what happened with that? Why didn't he follow up with her? Because we understand the Aisha thing. We even understand the Sabrina thing. Well, we're going to get back to the Sabrina, put a pin in that. But why didn't we talk about Tasia? He had, at least on camera, looked like they had a good date. They had a lot of things in common. She wants kids. She ready to get this party started. What had happened? Because here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you why I'm saying that. Two things. One, because at the end of the episode, Tasia walks off, right? And part of me feels like Tasia walked off because she wanted a moment. Part of me feels like Tasia walked off because she really was disturbed. Because let's be clear about these reunions. They are there all day long. They are taping all day long. And we only get maybe 20% of what actually happens. I get that. I've been reviewing these things long enough to know that we don't get it all. I get it. So maybe what was going on really did get in her skin. It really crawled up and but a part of me, because I'm looking at this whole episode and not once do we talk about Tasia. And here's the thing. There are people who left earlier than her that we saw. Sean being one of them. But okay. Then we get to the Sean and Sabrina situation. Sabrina apologized again for her friends kind of going nuclear on him. You could tell he was still really bothered by it because he sort of brought it up. He mentioned it. You could tell it was an issue for him. And then you saw her apologize again, and he said that she did actually, on the day it happened, she did apologize, but it was sort of like I'm so sorry, cringe. And Sabrina said, listen, my friends didn't understand what the deal was. My friends didn't get this process. They weren't going through this process, so they were just coming at it from a point of view of, this is my girl, what are you doing? Are you playing her? Are you there for the right reasons? Yada yada yada. So I get it from that point of view, but I still stick with what I said. I feel like her friends was a little harsh, and I think it was because part of that conversation, the way we saw it, was misinterpreted and misunderstood. I understood exactly what Sean was saying when he said it, but it seems like that I don't want to hurt you was taken woo like to the left. So anyway, he said that he was happy to be voted off. He said it was not a good experience for him, and he's just, he said he know he ready for love. He know he looking for it, and it just wasn't a good experience for him. So now. Then we talked about Sydney. Now we know Sydney made it all the way to the end, and she ended up with Phil. So we went through her little, story about how she kind of was trying to choose between Phil and Frank. I told y'all in the beginning that I don't think Frank was ever a serious contender. I think her and Frank knew each other, and they were like, listen, we're gonna play the game with each other until we find another match. I don't think they ever was serious about riding off into the sunset. At least Sydney. Put a pin in that. At least Sydney wasn't. But we find out that her and Phil are still together. They are dating exclusively, and I am happy for them. They look like they make a really cute couple. Y'all know that I was sort of back and forth with Miss Sydney because I'm still feel how I feel about Sydney, but I think Sydney's intentions on going on the show were not necessarily to find love, but I do think she found something while she was on the show. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? I really think her intention going in was to get some publicity and up her profile. But I think what she has with Phil is real. I don't think it's bullshit. So, that's that. Then we got into Camille and Cornelius. Listen, this is going to be real quick. Camille is blaming editing on everything. She didn't think that she put pressure on Cornelius. She didn't think that she was over the top or extra. She didn't think that she had done anything wrong. And she is blaming editing. And this is where you first start seeing the fangs come out a little bit. And you start seeing that there is clearly a separation in the camps of women. The men seem like they're pretty much they pretty much cool. But what I find very interesting is that both the men and the women were looking at Camille like she had lost her mind when she was like, it was editing and I don't feel like I was doing too much. Even when they showed the clips back at her being ridiculous and doing a lot, it was, no, I didn't do that. No, it wasn't me. No. And so Aisha and Sabrina was like, girl, what? Like, for real. And what Aisha was trying to explain, like she tried to explain that night when they got into that argument with Zadia, was you didn't allow him to experience the process. And Sabrina even went so far as to say, and I think he regrets it. Now, Cornelius said all the right things in front of the people and in front of Camille. No, I knew what I wanted. No, I had a connection with Camille from the beginning. No, I don't regret none of it. But Sabrina doesn't seem like the kind of person that would blurt something like that out without having some knowledge that there is a factual statement. Because that's a very bold statement to make, to say, I think he regrets it. And I'm not saying that Cornelius and Sabrina are having side conversations. I'm saying that they know more than we know, and other things have been said. So it might have been a situation where he said something to one of the guys, and the guys repeated it. You know what I'm saying? But there was definitely a moment right there between Camille and Aisha. I said, oh boy. But yeah, they still together, child. Anyway. Then we had the Tyrone situation. And I thought the best part about the Tyrone situation was Tyrone said, listen, I still feel the way I felt with the Carrie situation, but I could have expressed myself better. And the host was like, well, how would you have said it differently? So he turned to Carrie and he said to Carrie, listen, you're a really nice woman. There's nothing wrong with you. And I do find myself attracted to you. However, there are other women in this process that I find myself with a better connection or a greater connection, and I want to explore that. And Carrie was like, thank you. I appreciate it. It is received. She said her and Tyrone are good in a good place, that Tyrone is a good people. And it was never a personal thing. It's just the way it went down, it was hurtful to her. And I could appreciate that he could apologize and he understood that he could have said it better in hindsight. I can appreciate that she received it and she understood that there was no ill intent in what happened with Tyrone. And like he said, I still have no regrets. I regret how I said it, not what I said. And I can respect that. I definitely can respect that. Because let's be clear, 90% of the time when we get into conflicts with people, it's not what we say. Because what we say is what we say. It's how we say it. It's our tone. It's our language. Anyway. Then we have Courtney. Okay, so we back to Cornelius' child. Courtney called. Okay, let me put a pin. Let me rewind a little bit. So one of the things that came up with Tyrone was he used the term aggressive to describe Carrie, and the host was like, that's a trigger word for Black women. We, calling us aggressive, that's a trigger. So when you called her aggressive, I think you got a certain response or reaction from her. Let me explain something. Well, I'm not going to go down that road. So the next segment, Courtney was calling Camille aggressive and a bully. And Camille was like, didn't we just have a conversation about that word? Didn't we just talk about that word? Let me say this. Words mean things. And if you are aggressive, it is an appropriate word to use to describe your behavior. Now, I get the whole, it's a trigger word, because that's a word that, the angry Black woman, yada, yada, yada. But let's be clear. If you are angry and you are Black and you are a woman, it is an accurate description. So, Camille, you were aggressive in how you pursued Cornelius. You were a bully to the other women to keep them away from Cornelius. That is an accurate description based on what I saw. Now, you're right. I wasn't there 24 hours a day. I wasn't at every taping, filming. I wasn't there. But from where I stood and from what I saw, that was an accurate description. Ain't nothing wrong with that. The problem comes when we just reduce legitimate responses to, oh, she's just an angry black woman. Oh, she's just mad. Oh, she's just angry. That's where it becomes an issue. Not when it's appropriate. Moving on. Then we had the whole conversation about the Brown Girl Squad, and again, the ladies had an issue with that. That became a big back and forth, and that's where Zadia came into play. So then Zadia was like, it's not like it was an exclusionary club that other people couldn't get in. And Sabrina, Sydney, like the other ladies were like, that's a lie. Like, y'all were mean girls that basically treated us like shit. And that is how that went down. Like, you're not going to sit here and act like you weren't mean. You didn't have a mean girl spirit going on in this group. Like, you treated us like shit. You talked shit. It was a shitty situation. And you're not going to sit here and pretend like that's not what happened. Baby, Sabrina and Zadia got into it so bad. Sabrina called Zadia a bitch. I said, oh! But again, I have to say, see, men are going to tell the truth. Men are going to tell it because men are not, by nature, men are not catty. Men are not petty by nature. I mean, they have a different type of petty, but I'm talking about this kind of shit. When the men were agreeing and the men were nodding their heads and the men, for the exception of one, and I'm going to get to him in a second, that's when you know that it was legit. Now, the only person, Cornelius don't count. That damn Naeem. Now, clearly him and Zadia are together, okay? He was riding for Zadia. He was like, well, I think we need to address the elephant in the room. A lot of the anger towards Zadia, because they started talking about what happened down to the retreat, child. A lot of the anger that was towards Zadia is because, you know, after the second deliberation and Tommy asked us who our number one was, and all the men said Zadia. And so the ladies were like, we didn't know that. Like, our issue with Zadia, like, don't reduce this to, oh, we were jealous. Oh, we were mad because Zadia was getting all the guys' attention. Like, don't reduce it to that. There were legitimate problems with the way Zadia, Camille, I think Mumin is a part of this clique. I think somebody else, but I don't want to put nobody else's name in it, but I'm pretty certain Mumin is part of the clique. There are legitimate issues with how these women treated the other women on the cast. Now, whether they linked up because they were light-skinned or they just became friends, I mean, not light-skinned, but brown-skinned, or they just became friends and they labeled themselves the brown-skinned squad, that's not even my issue. I mean, it's an issue because whatever, but that's not my issue. My issue is y'all clicked up and became friends and y'all started treating the rest of the women like shit. That's it. And it's clear that was happening because if it were one person saying it, maybe even two people saying it, then I could be like, But when we had Courtney, Sydney, Sabrina, Aisha, that's 4 women, I didn't even get to the rest of them, that were all nodding their heads and being vocal about the fact that y'all were bullying them and y'all were treating them like shit. That's a problem. It just is, and I'm gonna need you to just live in it. Now you have Naeem trying to defend her, talking about it was all about jealousy. It was all because she was there. She was the guy's number one, and the women were feeling some kind of way. Listen, first of all, the women were like, we didn't even know that's what had happened. And he was like, come on, y'all, everybody knows what's said. Everybody knows what's said, which might be true because we found out last year that everybody knew what was being said in the lounge. And that's fine. But again, I don't think that was the issue. I don't think that was the issue. I think it was the behavior. I think it was because we saw it again in that argument at the retreat. Zadia, first of all, jumped into something that ain't even had nothing to do with her. And then she was rude and dismissive of what Aisha was saying. Again, Zadia tried to make it seem like, well, they were just mad because Cornelius and Camille had made a connection. No. And I think Aisha explained it very articulately and said it was about the process. Again, it's great that they found a connection. And I've said this in my reviews, and y'all can go back and look at them. It's great that they found a connection. I'm here for it. But the process of the show is to date and get to know everybody and then make a decision. And if neither one of them are participating in the process because they have locked in on each other and said that they were a couple and they were going to make it happen, then guess what? Who am I to judge? Go off, live life, and be happy, girl. But you don't get to treat everybody else like shit in the process. And I know I keep saying that over and over again. I feel like I done said shit 5,000 times. This video probably ain't even going to get monetized. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. Then we have Frank and Mumin. Listen, so Naeem showed me his true colors because he was real disrespectful to those women. And he was really talking a whole lot of shit. And he was my thing was Zadia can open her mouth. Like, Zadia couldn't even get in a word, not that she was trying, because Naeem kept jumping in. And finally, Sydney was like, are any of these guys going to check him? And I felt like what she was saying was, do you hear how he's talking to us? Not so much that he's talking to us, but the tone that he was using and the way he was coming at the women was mad, and I'm going to say the word, aggressive. It was real disrespectful. And I was with you, Sydney, and somebody should have checked him and said, whoa, 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 player, you getting like, bring it down a little bit. Because he was being real round. I would say what I called him off camera, but I ain't gonna call that man out his name like that. But just know it started with a B. Frank, I got a name for you. You a F-boy. You went through this whole process. You did this whole situation just to get to the end and ghost Mumin. It wasn't even like it was a gradual, once the cameras weren't rolling, we realized we really didn't have as much in common. Once the cameras stopped rolling, I realized that maybe I wasn't ready to love. You, from what she's talking about, you straight up ghosted her. She ain't, like, after the choosing ceremony, she did not hear from you. Sir, that's some real bitch made shit. We all grown. We are all adults. Use your words. Articulate yourself. If you needed time, tell her you needed time. If things weren't going the way you thought they weren't supposed to go, tell her that. If she wasn't the person you thought she was, explain that to her. Express it to her. But what you don't do is go out here on national television, give her flowers and shit, have a whole choosing ceremony, promise, profess your undying attractiveness, because it wasn't love, attractiveness, and say, listen, you are the person that I want to try to make this work with, and literally the next day don't nobody hear from you. Sir, that is F-boy behavior. And even though Mumin wasn't necessarily my favorite because I found out she was hanging out with them brown girls clique, she deserved that. She didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve to be treated that way. She didn't deserve it. She didn't deserve it. And that was some real F-boy behavior, Frank. Giving you the side eye, sir. Then we got to the retreat. I feel like I already kind of talked. I jumped ahead. I already talked about that. Naeem defending Zaida, and he said that the ladies were just jealous, child. Now here was the big point in this whole episode. Child, Camille tried to say that she didn't tell them women that she was gonna fuck them up. Let me say this. So then they went to the tape because the host was like, well, can we roll that beautiful bean footage? And baby, they pulled a Bravo down to the OWN and they played that video back. Because, Bravo is good for when you say you didn't do something or you didn't say something, them having that clip and blip, 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 bringing it right in. They played that clip. And they played that clip once. Camille was like, you didn't see my mouth move. You just heard my voice. Baby, that host was like, so you mean to tell me that they brought in an actress that sound like you to do a voiceover to make you say something that you didn't say? Baby, let me explain something to you. No disrespect to Ready to Love, Will Packer, or Tommy. Y'all ain't got that kind of budget to be bringing in voice actors and doing voiceovers just to make you look bad. Who are you? Who are you? Nobody's trying to make you look bad, Camille. Nobody gives a fuck. You said it. So then she said she didn't say. She's like, well, you didn't see my mouth move. So they went back, and you clearly see her mouth say. Now, she did kind of have her hand like this, but they had a side view, so you didn't know they had that side view, girl. They had a side view, and your mouth said, I fuck y'all up. Then Camille was going to say, well, they don't know who I was talking to, yada, yada, yada. I could have been saying, it doesn't matter. You said it. And then here come bitch ass Naeem talking about they were like, well, the host was like, well, raise your hand if you heard her say it. So of course, pretty much everybody was like, I heard it. Here go Naeem. I hear it now. I ain't hear it that night. Come on, girl, you said it. Let it go. You said it. Maybe you didn't mean to say it. Maybe your emotions got the best of you. Maybe you were even playing when you said it. But you said it. Admit you said it. Let it go. Then Tasia gets up and walks off, talking about something. I ain't come here for this. This is ghetto. All we've been doing all day long is fussing and bickering, and that ain't what I came for. What the hell did you think you came for? Have you never seen a reunion for anybody's show? Have you never seen a reunion for any of the housewives? Have you never seen a reunion for Love and Hip Hop? Have you never seen a reunion for Ready to Love? What the hell did you think you came here for? That is all y'all came here to do. What the hell? What did you think was going to see it? I would like to know what you thought the reunion was, girl. Now, she did say that her mother was in the hospital and she had better things to do. And so I think part of her breakdown was the fact that she probably had other things on her mind that were really more serious. And that's the truth. And I can appreciate that. But girl, that was a whole moment. I said she is really stretching this a little bit. Anyway, that was part 1, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Don't forget to join me on the panel Saturday morning, 12:30, Kamisha Review, so we can talk about this child together. All right? Peace.